Welcome to Charts Today. My name is David Linton, and today's edition for Monday, the 10th of September, comes to you from London. And we start by looking at the dollar. Dollar still looking bullish above the cloud as we just push higher here. So dollar strength still a theme. Not through yet on the long-term chart, but we are just seeing that dollar index pushing to get through there, through on the price, not yet on the lagging line. And if we look at the euro, we see the euro is testing the cloud from above on the long-term chart, bearish, medium and short term. So that dollar strength is still a theme, and the Japanese yen, where we normally see the dollar strength showing up, dollar is not looking quite as bullish here, but the long-term transition is the thing to watch here. So dollar strength still a theme, and if we look at sterling, we're seeing sterling is actually looking a little bit stronger against the dollar on the short-term chart, but medium term, of course, still bearish. Sterling against the euro is looking stronger this morning. Euro falling a little bit on Swedish vote and just sentiment generally in Europe. And we're seeing against the Swiss franc, sterling also improving, and against the Aussie dollar also looking quite strong there, bullish above the cloud in all three frames, suggesting weakness in the Aussie dollar. Bitcoin sitting at $6,300, up this morning about 1%, but pretty bearish after last week's falls. The US stocks ended the week on a fairly low note. We saw the S&P, we see the weekly candle at the end there, just down for the week and just progressively falling. Not quite through support yet on the cloud. And if we look at the Nasdaq 100 index, we see here that we were down about a third of a percent on Friday and looking more bearish on the short term. And looking at the Dow, we also saw falls on Friday, which were similar to the Nasdaq, just pulling away there. And so the Dow yet to make new highs. And the Russell index was down slightly, but is looking bearish short term as well. The futures this morning looking a bit stronger. The S&P future up about 1/4%. The same for the Nasdaq E-mini. In bearish territory, of course, on that short-term chart, but it does look like we might see the US market open a little bit higher. The UK market still looking pretty dire. Started a bit stronger this morning, but already falling away. And the mid caps in the UK also just struggling and looking more and more bearish, looking at that medium and short-term chart. The DAX in Germany also looking bearish this morning, just having started strongly, falling away again, and bearish on all three time frames. And the CAC 40 starting to look pretty bearish there as well. Japan overnight actually did close a little bit higher, but still bearish below the cloud on the medium and short-term charts. Hang Seng was down 1.6%, just increasing the woes there for Chinese stocks. In Hong Kong, we're now seeing sort of 12-month lows, so that's always a bearish sign, of course. And seeing the Chinese index really starting to nudge these levels that we saw back at the beginning of 2016. So if that support is broken, then it's a big fall below that. And that's showing up quite nicely on the point and figure chart. We would activate a downside target some 45% lower. So really quite worrying charts there for China at the moment. Taking a look at the Sensex, down as well overnight, down 1%. And the Aussie market was down very, very slightly, little changed really. Brent crude sitting at that 77.50 level, just starting to look stronger again, and WTI also just not quite through on the cloud yet, but looking a bit stronger as well, sitting at that 68.20 level. US nat gas falling lower, sinking lower to $2.77, just cannot break higher. And looking bearish on the short term. Gold actually struggling at this $1,200 level, just can't get above there and stay there, so looking a bit more bearish on that stronger dollar. And silver also looking quite bearish on that stronger dollar. We're seeing here silver making 2-year lows, so that's also not great. Looking at US 10-year yields, they jumped at the end of last week, so we're seeing that jump on the stronger farm payrolls numbers. So we're sitting now at 2.94%. That's the strongest we've seen really for nearly a month now. So looking stronger there. And of course, looking at bond prices, so he's looking at the German Bund here, sank lower on Friday and Thursday and Friday, and we're seeing here just pushing lower. Bonds really entering this long-term bear market, so the German bond market actually looking weak, and we're seeing that across the board really in Europe. Yields increasing and bond prices decreasing. Looking at Apple, there was down about 0.8% on Friday, so just reflecting the sell-off in tech that we saw last week. Amazon also ended the day down only 0.3%, but still looking vulnerable on the cloud there. Uh, Google looking very weak by comparison, bearish below the cloud, down 0.6%. Facebook a real concern as we are making new lows here, breaking that 170 level and pushing really back to the lows we saw down at March and April time. Microsoft also pushing lower and just struggling to get through that 110 level, turning into bearish territory below the cloud. And if we look at Netflix, we saw also that we sank lower last week. Even though we did actually hold on Friday, we are now bearish, medium, and short term on Netflix. And Tesla, of course, a real seller on Friday, with the latest Elon Musk comments down 6%, looking bearish. So a lot of the tech majors starting to look quite worrying. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.